Welcome to the Select Board meeting for Wednesday, September 4th, 2024. It's at whatever time it is. I don't have my watch. It's a little after 7. On my right is Jack Regala. Roger Hicks is unable to join us tonight. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to announce that we're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony for the new municipal office building on Wednesday, September 18th at 10 a.m. There will be a press release will be sent out by the end of the week, and all the public is welcome. It's going to be a little challenge to find out where people can park, but we'll figure that out. So the first order of business tonight is I'm going to introduce Justin Chinette. He's our county commissioner for Saco, Old Orchard Beach, Hollis, and Buxton, and he's going to present a Spirit of America Award for an individual person for 2024. Justin.
Thank you, Mary. So honored to be here. So Charles Chip Currier, a born and bred Hollis resident, has been an active member of the Hollis Parks and Recreation Department for the past several years. As a volunteer, he has spent time assisting with sports t-ball and soccer, special events, Halloween and Christmas, and our yearly Hollis Community Day celebration. I'm tired just reading that big list. Wonderful. Over the past year in particular, Chip has devoted his time being a part-time counselor for the Hollis Parks and Recreation Department's before and after care program for school-aged children. Enthusiastic with a can-do attitude, which we could use a little bit more of, right? We love that. Entertaining and a learning experience for all the children who participate. His ideas for events and themes on a weekly and often daily basis is inspired by his past experiences as a participant in the Parks and Recreation program as a child. Chip has faced many challenges in his life. The loss of 2 close friends in a fishing boat accident has made him value and appreciate each and every day. He worked many years on fishing vessels, sometimes going out to sea for as many as 30 days in a row. He always enjoys fishing, which is hard work. I mean, I know I can't do it, so I'm glad he can. But his philosophy of picking things up and getting things done has been exemplified in his enthusiasm for any project or challenge that comes his way. With 2 young children, Chip spends his time as much as he can with them. His oldest, Memphis, enjoys gardening, and his youngest, Booker, is a genius at mathematical equations. I feel like we have a budget committee somewhere, right? Chip's goal for the Hollis Parks and Recreation Department programs is to create what was it like for him when he was growing up. Create fun and meaningful activities so that the children who participate will recall those memories not only as fun, but helping them to become better friends, teammates, and accepting of everyone. I love that. It is with great honor and privilege for the Hollis Select Board to nominate Charles Chip Currier for the Spirit of America Individual Award representing the town of Hollis in 2024. Let's hear it for Chip, everybody.
Hey, Chip.
And so, Deb, I was wondering if you can come up and introduce your staff, because Chip, and then Chip can introduce the staff. Have everybody come up from your staff.
Great.
Okay?
I am Chip. I'm the new assistant director for the Hollis Parks and Rec program. We have a great team. Megan was just hired. She is the new director of child care. And then, of course, we have Deb. She has been the director since I can remember, and she taught me a lot. So, Deb. And then we have our administrative assistant, Dawn. Dawn, you want to come join us? And I am very honored and blessed to be nominated. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
And the reason I had Justin do it is in the November award ceremony that they do at the York County Community, whatever.
Right.
He reads them, and it's really...
He puts a zing to them.
Yeah, he does. Just thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So thank you to all the
Appreciate
Parks
you.
and Rec staff for being you.
Great crew right now.
And we wanted to
Yeah, we have a
introduce
strong
you.
team.
The reason I had you come up is I wanted everybody to know that we've got a full staff now.
We finally full staffed, and we will be doing some amazing things this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No matter what, we get to answer something.
Yeah, absolutely. No pirate house.
And next we have honored to have Justin Chenette. He's our county commissioner, like I said. He's our guest speaker tonight to talk to us about the York County Commission budget. Is that what they call it? Our share is $328,017.84, and he's going to explain what that entails.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Jack. Really appreciate the invitation to come before you tonight. And thank you for your service to the community. I know sometimes it can feel like it's a thankless job, but we really do appreciate everything that you put into it each and every day. It's a true honor to represent Hollis on the County Commission, and before that in the State Senate. So tonight I want to talk a little bit, some baseline information, particularly for our constituents who may not be super familiar with county government, the county commission, and how that might play a role in understanding Hollis's role in how to access different programs and services and as it relates to the budget. So I have provided the Select Board a packet, and that is the 2023 annual report. This is a new publication. It's something that I've been pushing for since I was elected to this role, and happy to see it's finally implemented. So it is something that you can expect on an annual basis, and it breaks down not only budgetary information, but also key data points related to specific departments within county government, a little bit about each department, contact information for the commissioners. Basically, if you want to know anything about what's happening within county government, this annual report is a good reflection of that. For those tuning in from home and other places, you can access this report on the York County website, yorkcountymaine.org. So I want to start off with what is county government. In many states, the role of a county commissioner is a very important one. Outside of New England, county government tends to play a much larger role in everyday life than even the municipal level. In some places, county government is responsible for things like maintaining roads and bridges, caring for our physical and mental health, administering our elections, ensuring public safety, and strengthening environmental stewardship, and much more. On the other end of the spectrum, Rhode Island and Connecticut don't even have county governments at all. In New England, we tend to favor localized control, closer to the people, and as a result, county government has a little bit more of a reduced power and authority compared to other parts of the country. That doesn't mean, however, that county government and our structure isn't beneficial or important. Far from it. So York County's government structure involves a full-time manager and 5 elected part-time county commissioners split up amongst 5 districts. Our district is number 3. And there are 6 positions elected countywide: district attorney, sheriff, judge of probate, register of deeds, and treasurer. And our administrative office is located in the county seat in the town of Alfred. So just think of the county commission as a regional version of the select board. We have an annual budget overseen by a separate and independent budget committee that hovers in the mid $20 million range. For comparison, the city of Saco budget is nearly double that figure. Commissioners are elected to 4-year terms and are the chief elected officials responsible for fiscal operations and policy decisions affecting county government. The commission's jurisdiction and responsibilities include oversight of our jail, 2 of the largest registry of probate and deeds in New England, part of the district attorney's office, a domestic violence program, an addiction treatment program, law enforcement for about half of our 29 municipalities, and county-wide emergency management. We are in the process of building a new recovery center and public safety training center, which will be added to that list of ongoing programs that we will be responsible for. Additional duties include municipal tax appeals for towns that do not have a board of tax appeals, and we have quite a few of those. Commissioners also provide representation on various regional boards and committees. For instance, I'm the county representative on the executive committee of the Southern Maine Planning and Development Commission. Just a note about the budget process, as we'll talk a little bit about the budget tonight. The county budget process includes county commissioners hearing budget presentations from the county manager and various department heads, usually in late March or early April. After the commission passes the initial version of the budget, it then goes to the county budget committee, where they will have their own deliberations and their own public hearing. for Hollis residents and anyone in the county to participate in, usually in May of each year. The Budget Committee is composed of 3 members from each of the 5 commission districts, which 2 being elected municipal officials and 1 representing members of the public. The members are selected at an annual caucus, typically held in April, where any elected official, including Mary and Jack, can participate in the selection process of who is on the Budget Committee. It also can have a non-voting member from the legislative delegation. The committee then adopts its version of the budget, submits it back to the commission, who can either adopt it or modify it. If commissioners decide to modify it, then it goes back to the Budget Committee for final passage, either by overriding the commission or agreeing with the changes made in that final step of the process. The budget has to be adopted by July 1st. We're fortunate to have a Hollis representative on the Budget Committee, Becky Bowley. I think we're familiar with Becky's work. We still have 2 other vacancies for our commission district on the Budget Committee. So while we can't have another Hollis representative on there, I would highly encourage the rest of the towns in our district to send representatives. It helps our whole area when we have adequate representation on the Budget Committee. I have provided the Select Board a recent budget in reference to what the breakdown represents for Hollis's portion of the budget, so you have that before you. And we'll sort of get into each of the departments, but essentially you can see the breakdown, the $300,000 plus that Mary had referenced in relation to the $25 million budget that we have for the entirety of the county. So you can see that portion specifically for Hollis. Now, how can Hollis residents participate in both the budget process or our typical meeting structure? Well, the commission meets the first and third Wednesday of each month. I think it's similar to another meeting structure that we have here, but ours is at 4:30 in the afternoon. I did fight pretty hard to try to get those meeting times changed to the evening. I think, and you probably noticed this, you can have more folks participate when it's in the evening, after work hours. So I do find that is a big barrier for folks to participate in our meetings, being in Alfred. I will say, though, our meetings are hybrid. So much like I think we're seeing here in Hollis, it's available by Zoom. You can testify, you can speak via Zoom, so you don't even have to leave the confines of your house. You can participate in those meetings, and any resident can speak during public comment, which we have at the beginning and the end of every single meeting. And we have a newly renovated commission meeting room at our administrative building, and it has new technology, so it really makes it a lot easier for folks to interact with the commission. So I just want to talk briefly about each of the departments and how it might relate to Hollis. So Emergency Management Agency is really to lessen the impact of disasters and in times of need. So the EMA folks at the county level really focus on coordination and training in 4 particular areas of emergency management: preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation. So here are some specific ways the county EMA officials work with the town of Hollis. We work closely with Hollis Fire Chief Chris Young, specifically around emergency management for the town, as well as homeland security planning. We worked with Hollis on damage assessments and documentation for FEMA public assistance regarding the winter storms last year. We coordinated local response and power outage restoration prioritization to several storms through the York County Emergency Operations Center, which is activated during times of disaster. We provided resources to Hollis EMA and first responders, such as emergency light towers and signboards. We assisted with funding and planning of hazmat ops training for Hollis Fire Department. We provided several trainings, exercises, and workshops for Hollis EMA. Some examples include sheltering, weather hazards, hazard and threat analysis, and grants. And we collected required information and hosted meetings for Tier 2 reporting facilities and first responders in Hollis. So I think it's always important to just come back to what's happening in Hollis as it relates to the county, and I think that does a good breakdown just in the past year how just one county department has engaged with your local town officials. More broadly, the York County EMA hosted 41 trainings, 5 tabletop exercises, and functional active shooter exercises with first responders and school officials from several York County communities. There were 22 York County activations regarding response coordination, information sharing, management during times of need. So I think that's critical. And then York County EMA responded to a major recent disaster and advocated heavily to secure $20 million in federal reimbursements to municipalities that sustained heavy damage to public infrastructure. And they've also been working on updated alerts that folks can sign up for, the RAVE system. So that's a little bit about York County EMA. District Attorney's Office serves everyone in York County. In calendar year 2023, there was nearly 8,000 cases presented to the District Attorney's Office by local and state agencies. York County Sheriff's Office provided 805 of those. And just in reference to Hollis, during, let's say, January 1 of this year to now, to August 31st, there were 76 cases referred to the York County District Attorney's Office from various law enforcement agencies, from crimes ranging from low-level motor vehicle charges to charges of domestic violence that occurred within the town of Hollis. So 76 cases, just to kind of put it in perspective. Our Victim Witness Advocacy Program, which has full-time victim witness advocates, assisted the public and continue to assist the public who needs to interact with our court system via the District Attorney's Office. They help provide valuable expertise and help navigating the court system and how to file different paperwork. And just to give it a sense of restitution collection and what the payout to victims represents, District Attorney's Office paid out over $300,000 just in the last year alone through that program. Sheriff's Office, you're probably most familiar. It's one of our most public programs that folks associate with the county. Our jail is the second largest within the state of Maine. It's actually considered a flagship facility because of how it's run. Our jail provides a number of different programs to the residents there with direct supervision at the facility. We boast the largest medically assisted treatment, or MAT, program amongst all the county jails in the entire state. And that is about returning inmates to society and in a productive manner. We provide policing services to 14 out of the 29 municipalities, so that's quite significant. The Patrol Division handled 28,000 calls for service in 2023. Now, while the Sheriff's Office doesn't normally patrol Hollis, they do provide backup and respond with the state police when they're not available. So they either co-respond with the state police depending on the severity of the situation, or at night when they don't patrol. This collaboration is critical to ensuring Hollis residents are kept safe and have adequate public safety response. Something that for all of us to be very mindful of, and I know this is an issue that has come up before for the Select Board, is the state police's long-term commitment to providing rural patrol. It's something that our legislative delegation should be mindful of, and something we should all keep a close full eye on if that's something that will change in the future. Again, we don't have any indication of that, but what we're seeing across the state is the state police are pulling out of rural communities, and then that burden then falls to property taxpayers, usually in the form of added staff, either on the sheriff office's patrol unit or a contract deputy. So just to kind of give you a sense of what happened in Hollis from January 1 to present, state police have responded to a total of 935 calls in Hollis so far this year, and the Sheriff's Office was a part of 213 of those, but probably a good chunk of those end up getting referred to other law enforcement entities. Our Sheriff's Office also was involved with DEA, so the Drug Enforcement agency for the state, and there was a significant drug operation that occurred within the town of Hollis, and I'm sure folks have followed that pretty closely. It did lead to an arrest regarding aggravated trafficking of scheduled drugs, and a residence being condemned because of that activity. So that's just another example where partnerships matter. The Sheriff's Office partnering with other law enforcement agencies to keep Hollis residents safe. And then Registry of Deeds, usually that comes into play for real estate transactions. Just to kind of give you a sense of the scope, in the calendar year 2023, the York County Registry of Deeds Office recorded 41,000 documents and 521 plans. So a lot of activity there. I would say a lot of work is taking place to continue to digitize records, as well as the Registry of Probate. And the probate court and registry of probate are another key element of county services. Probate courts are still taking place at our York County Courthouse. So I know everyone's probably familiar with the new Judicial Center in Biddeford, where that consolidated the district courts and the Superior Court system. We still utilize our York County Courthouse for the probate court, for the Registry of Probate, Registry of Deeds. We are renovating certain aspects of that building, which, as you can imagine, can be quite a task, to rent out that space to recoup some of the operational costs of still maintaining that space to area nonprofits and other groups looking for cheaper rental space. But the hope is to help supplement our operational costs with those added spaces. So just a fun factoid, our probate court and our registry of probate, they're actually a certified passport acceptance facility too. So if you need your passport, they accept appointments. And we just recently moved the probate court system to the first floor of the York County Courthouse. It's a much better space, much larger space to accommodate proceedings, safer. It's infused technology, so you can better hear. So there's hearing improvement for accessibility purposes, and conference area space. We've actually seen a 46% increase in the number of filings in our probate court system since 2019. 46%. So that just speaks to the volume. In 2023 alone, we saw and served nearly 4,000 people in the probate court system just in York County. And I won't keep going on. I know I'm probably going way over time, but some of the federal monies that we received $40 million from the federal government, ARPA, in rescue dollars, if you will. That money was split up into several large-scale projects to benefit county residents. One is a training center, so it's a public safety training center where fire, police, other law enforcement agencies can really come together and train. And this is something that we don't have in York County, and we absolutely needed it to really empower the next generation of first responders. So this is going to be a 45,000 square foot training facility built on county-owned land. It's worked its way through the planning board process. It's been approved, and we hope to do a groundbreaking. I think we were talking about groundbreaking ceremonies earlier tonight, and we hope to have a groundbreaking ceremony later this fall. But there'll be a number of elements to the facility that will, again, really benefit first responders and those that are seeking to go into that field. And we are in desperate need of folks going into and really putting their lives on the line to support our communities. So we're really excited that this is going to really create a regional partnership with not just law enforcement, but colleges and universities and other in hospitals and utilities. Everyone's going to come together to support that. And then the other big project is the Recovery Center. Obviously, we all know the ravages of the opioid epidemic. This new recovery center on county-owned land again is really going to be helpful. The state has called it a game changer. Everyone's looking to us for leadership on this issue. We know how to do this. We have the Layman Way Recovery Center, which is a current 24-bed addiction treatment program for inmates. This will be open to any York County resident. So unlike our current program that's specific for the jail, Hollis residents could absolutely take advantage of these services. So we really hope that having a full continuum of care at this recovery center, including detox beds, short-term and long-term recovery programs, outpatient programs, and case management, one-stop shop for recovery and healing will be critically important for our county. That also has been approved by the planning board in Alfred, and again, we hope to begin really the hard work and the groundbreaking ceremony later this fall. Other initiatives we've been working on in trying to engage and support our unhoused population. The York County Budget Committee did add about $125,000 from our last budget to help combat homelessness and work with various providers to help keep people in their home and also get folks into housing. Those are critical things. And so we have a York County Homeless Response Hub that works with various providers to help achieve that. So I know I've probably gone way over time, but that I hope just gives you just a glimpse of some of the great work that's taking place at the county level. I know sometimes it can feel like it's kind of removed from everyday life and you may not hear as much about it, but there are things that we're doing and taking into consideration to help connect people to this information. We have a staff member who used to work at the one of the local newspapers that is writing media stories for us. So you probably have seen more information out into things like the Waterboro Reporter regarding county activity and county government work. That's part of our efforts. YorkCountyMaine.gov, brand new website. It's interactive. It has budget information. It has the latest updates of what's happening in the community. I've started my own blog at CommissionerShanette.com to kind of walk through the things that I'm working on as part of the county. And so I think part of those initiatives are just helpful to connect folks to what's happening so that you feel empowered to make informed decisions. And then you can let me know, too, what you like, what you dislike, and so we can take that feedback into advisement as we go forward with our work. So I know I kind of walked through that pretty quickly, but are there any questions that you have, Mary or Jack, that I can be helpful with, or anything that we talked about that you want to delve a little bit more into?
So where are the recovery centers and stuff going to be located? You said on on county-owned property, but
right, it's along that stretch. I don't know if you've been to our administrative building or the county jail, but it's along that stretch. So we have county-owned land, and that's one of the benefits of being able to access that is it reduces the cost associated with those projects. So they'll be in the town of Alfred near those other services, and so we're excited to add those.
Nice.
Yep.
Did anybody from the public have any questions? Don or
I'd probably
Harlan?
get shot for this one, but I gotta ask it.
Sure.
'Cause, someone had asked me, all these traffic citations that are issued and, the fines, where does that money go?
If I vaguely remember several conversations with the sheriff, I think, sadly, a lot to the state. So I think, part of that from the sheriff's office standpoint.
Yeah.
So not talking about municipal police traffic citations, but I think that's one of the rubs is when we're collecting some of that and it's not staying local, that can be a little jarring. But at the same time, we do get money back through other initiatives like jail funding from the state. So, but yes, I think that is something that continues to be brought up as something where the state
How much
looks.
could go back to a town or something, if we have in your
Right.
own law enforcement, but I was just
Right.
curious.
If it stayed more local, that helps to help with operational costs for the sheriff's office and coverage.
Right.
So, but then obviously the state uses it as a pool. So, I'm happy to bring that up with the sheriff and see, if there's any movement. Usually there's some sort of bill to probably change that. But as you know, if the state has a pot of money, it's not going to want to give up that pot of money, and it's probably that, and that's pretty understandable as well. But we are a part of the County Commissioners Association. They hire a lobbyist, and they do try to advocate on behalf of counties. And so, any issues like this, we can bring forward to that group, and that can be part of our legislative agenda starting in January.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for Justin?
No? Anybody? Zoom? Nope.
I know you've had a busy day, so you're welcome to stay if you want, or you can go ahead and leave. because
Okay.
you've been
No, I
busy.
appreciate it, and thank you so
No,
much.
thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate the invitation.
Thank you for all the information, and thank you for doing the Spirit of America Award
Yeah.
for me.
Absolutely. Anytime.
So under old business, we have the USDA grant acceptance. The motion is the Select Board approves and accepts in all respects a proposed grant in the amount of $2 million from USDA Rural Development for the Congressional Directed Spending Facility Upgrades Project and authorizes the Select Board to deliver all documents and to take any and all actions necessary to carry into effect such grant funding. And we have to vote on this, so I make the motion.
I'll second it.
Jack's going to second it. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. We forgot to do that last meeting when we were signing all those documents.
Right.
I guess we just sort of missed it. So, under new business, we have an invitation to bid for the Mansion Reconstruction Project. Sealed bids for reconstruction of Mansion Road will be received by the town of Hollis until Wednesday, September 18th, 2024 at 7 p.m. This work includes reconstruction of a previously gravel section of Mansion Road from the intersection of Deerwander Road to a point approximately 700 feet west down Mansion Road. The work includes selective vegetation clearing, ditching, drainage work, road subbase, reconstruction, and paving. Bid information is on our website. The issuing office is Sebago Technics with Mr. Shane Kelly as the main contact. Shane can provide electronic copies of the contract documents by email at skelly@sebagotechnics.com or by calling 207-200-2078. And Jack, you've been working on that project. Do you want to say anything about it? Or sort of explain to people where it is?
Yeah, actually, it's on that sharp curve that, Deerwander runs into Mansion. So they clear cut on this side, so it'll be more visible, because that school bus stops right after. But it is a bad curve, so that sight line will be all changed, and hopefully that will take that out, so it won't be so hazardous, But that's, huh? Yeah, can you imagine that? And boy, I'll tell you, but they did clear, if you've been through there, they took down quite a bit of trees and all the underbrush is gone. So waiting on these bids now and then go forth with that,
So the next item of business is the warrant for the special town meeting November 5th, 2024. Public hearings will be held on October 2nd and October 16th. And it's warrant for special town meeting November 5th to any resident, and has the usual greetings about, in the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants in said town of Hollis qualified to vote in town affairs to assemble at the Hollis Center Church, 388 Hollis Road in said town of Hollis on Tuesday, the 5th day of November, 2024 at 6:45 a.m. in the forenoon to act on Article 1. The polls will then open at 7 o'clock in the forenoon and close at 8 p.m., 8 o'clock in the evening, to act on Articles 2 through 5 by secret ballot voting. We are in the process of working on being able to do our voting in Hollis Center Church because of the limited parking that we have here due to the construction. We just couldn't see a viable way to have people vote on a general election like we're having. So we are working on getting the Hollis Center Church approved. We just had a couple more things to do, and then I think we'll get approval from the state. So all proposed amendments in the proposed shoreline zoning map are available for review and inspection at the town clerk's office on our website and will be available at the special town meeting. Article 1 is to elect a moderator by written ballot to preside at said town meeting. Article 2, shall a charter commission be established for the purpose of establishing a new municipal charter. Article 3, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 Amendments to the Town of Hollis Ordinance for the Disposal of Tax-Acquired Property be enacted. And, Jack, I need a motion to recommend that article.
I'll make a motion to accept that article.
And I second it, so all those in favor, aye. Article 4, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 Adoption of the Town of Hollis Shoreland Zoning Map dated 8/14/2024 is incorporated into the Hollis Shoreland Zoning Ordinance through Chapter 11 be enacted. And I need a motion to...
Make a motion to accept Article 4.
And I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the planning board already voted on recommending that article. In Article 5, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 Amendments to the Zoning Ordinance for the Town of Hollis regarding adoption of amendments under Article 1.1.5 be enacted. And I need a motion.
Motion to accept Article 5.
And I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the planning board chose not to give a recommendation in Article 5. I know some of you are probably waiting for me to read a couple other articles. Another article which we'll be voting on later in the year was the one about the pedestrian bridge on the Salmon Falls Bridge construction. And we're going to be voting on that at our special town meeting in December because we needed to have Finance Committee approval and we hadn't gotten that. And the other article that we were going to have on this warrant that we took off was the one about ceasing cluster housing. Our legal attorneys recommended that instead the select board make proposals on changing the zoning ordinance so that we would refer that to the planning board for their input and then put it on the next warrant in December. So we did approve Article 3, 4, and 5.
Yep.
Wait. Oh, sure. I make a motion to accept the warrant as written.
I second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Thanks, Bennett. And then my understanding was that we were supposed to do another warrant, but we're not,
Right,
on having nomination.
right.
But we have to have the nomination papers available on Friday. Mm-hmm. So it basically would read as this warrant, but it would be for December 17th, 2024, with Article 1 to elect a moderator by written ballot to preside at said town meeting. Article 2 would read something like Select Board would ask the town clerk to provide nomination papers to elect 3 Charter Commission members. Nomination papers would be available on September 6th and due to the town clerk on October 18th, with a special town meeting to vote on to elect the 3 Charter Commission members on December 17th.
I'm just curious as to why is there a magical date of December 17th?
Because it's so many days from when the nomination papers come in.
Okay.
Those
So-
are all from Martha.
So is it going to make any difference if you guys do up a warrant for the next meeting you have?
We'd have to change that December 17th date.
Oh, we'd have to change it to like after the first of the year or something. Okay. I just want to know is if there's a cutoff date as to why you need.
Need what?
I know you probably want to get it done as soon as possible. Is that why the warrant needs to be written?
And that was all Martha's dates for recommendations and when she would have the next special town meeting.
Okay. All right.
Is that in a 60-day thing?
Has to be 90 days, I think.
It's 100 days from a certain date.
Date,
and- yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know, what do we do? Do we,
Well, there's no warrant drafted for that, so, I mean, the only thing I think you could do is do another warrant at your next meeting.
or do a letter
But it would,
tomorrow to her?
Yeah.
Because I would think it could be a letter.
She did send a draft of a letter that was priorly used, so.
So we'll just complete the letter and
Yep.
so do we announce the nomination papers tonight?
That's tough. I think you need a warrant in order
Right.
to have nomination papers.
Have her on.
I think it has to be a warrant. I think you can notify with a letter. That would be fine, but in order to have nomination papers for an election.
I don't know. She was supposed to get back to us, right?
Yeah, but things got busy.
Hmm?
Things got busy.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can push out the election, a couple more weeks
okay.
for January instead of December,
Okay.
that's the only thing I can think of to resolve it for you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Hmm.
So we'll move on.
Thank you, Bennett.
Thank you, Bennett. Now we have some appointments to make. I make a motion that we appoint Faith Plummer to the Appeals Board.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we are going to announce a new town manager hiring committee. I make a motion that we appoint Martha Huff, Christopher Young, Don Moran, Daniel Urumian, Kevin Flinner, and Terry Walters to the new town manager hiring committee.
I second that.
All those in
folks.
favor? Aye. Martha, did you want to speak?
I did. Sorry, it took me a minute to get over here. So I don't know what the resolution was to your questions, but the select board need to give me something that says you're calling for this meeting for charter commission members, and that needs to be 100 days before your special town meeting. You don't have to have it in December. You can do it in January. You can do it in February. I mean, I know you're trying to get it done, so we have to back it up 100 days from that to have nomination papers available. And that's in law. That's not Martha. That's
No, we
The
know
question was whether it had to be in a warrant or does it just have to be in
It
a letter?
has to be in some kind of legal document that's, I think there's paperwork that the select board can sign to, that you're going to call for a meeting, a vote. I haven't had time this afternoon. As you know, we've been trying to look
Right.
that up, and
Yeah.
Well, we've been trying to get the other warrant done, so.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is don't put it on to me.
No.
No,
know, it's
It's just that I didn't know what
the
to do
charter
because
commission. I believe what we read in the charter commission was that the members needed to be elected in the same format as your municipal
right.
officials,
mhm.
which we do by nomination process and secret ballot vote. So that's where the 100 days comes
Right.
in.
Uh-huh.
And then the nomination papers have to be back 60 days
Mm-hmm.
before town meeting, so we can have ballots, absentee ballots, 30 days before town
Right.
meeting. So that's how that all breaks out. So, I mean, you're welcome to put it off till January, but I need something legally signed by the Board of Selectmen so I can put out nomination papers. I'm not gonna just do that and
Oh, no,
say
I'm not
nomination
asking
papers
you.
are available.
Yeah.
I need something that's legal to back that up.
Okay, so we're not sure if it's a warrant or just a
Well,
legal
warrant
document.
would work for sure, but I think there's another paper. I think when we were talking about this, but we haven't found it yet. When the special town meeting was called to originally change the TIF, that was a paper that legal drew up for us that, because the warrant wasn't ready, but X number of days before that vote, they brought something to the clerk that said XYZ, the selectmen
Okay.
are authorizing the clerk to have a special town meeting on such and such
Okay.
a date to amend the TIF.
Okay.
But we haven't been able to put our hands on that this afternoon. We've all been a little busy there. So the TIF, the special TIF, I'm thinking was at the fire station, and I'm thinking that we did run it all day long. I'm thinking, I'm not positive about that, but I think, I don't have the best of memories, so don't go by what my memory
no,
says.
no.
that's for
It's just
sure.
that I wasn't sure where we left that
Yeah,
this
but
afternoon.
I mean, it had to be all day voting, or we wouldn't have been at the fire station.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because, well, you wait a minute. There was we had one meeting at the fire station that was set up, and the lawyer was there. And I don't know if that was a public hearing but I remember that. I remember the chairs and her sitting at the table, and I was taking notes, so I must have been. Maybe, yeah. Yes, the latest amendment was voted on by secret.
Right.
Oh,
You did.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
okay. Right.
Right. So we just did it with it was like a open town meeting or whatever. We didn't have to do it all day. Right.
Right, so you're, so, and I don't know if you can change, this last one, they had us do by secret ballot vote for that
Right.
change.
Yep.
So I don't know, without having that information right in front of me, whether you have to do a secret town meeting or you can do an open town meeting vote.
Okay. Well, I didn't know what to do, so I figured I'd mention it, and so we'll clarify that and let you know at our next meeting.
Okay, so we're clear, just so I'm on the right page, so we're clarifying what at the next meeting?
We're going to clarify how to get nomination papers out to people and when we would have the special town meeting.
All right, so so the December 17th date is off the table.
Well, unless we can find whatever that piece of paper
Well, you
is
need
tomorrow.
to sign that document at a public meeting. This is your
Right,
public
I
meeting.
know. So
100 days is
I
Friday.
guess
so,
it's off the table.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're gonna have to push it out, because
Yep.
I need direction in order to do that,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
to buy me.
End of December instead of December.
Yeah, that's fine. They can
Yeah, it'll
do
be
it whenever.
Christmas. We'll do it Christmas Day. We'll have
We'll get a
special-
lot of people out to vote that day. So I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just saying
No, no.
that
No.
No?
I can't, as a clerk, just say, "Oh, I'm putting out nomination papers for something." Has to be for a
Well,
reason,
because originally I
dates,
thought it just had to be a letter, but
felt. And that's fine, but it needs to have whatever legal mumble jumble needs to be in it. That's what
Yeah.
I need to have. So,
okay. Thank you.
So thank you.
Then
Thank
we
you, Bennett, too, for all your work on that.
Then we have the payroll and warrant totals. The warrant last week was $51,617. The warrant this week was $17,652. The payroll last week was $33,557. The payroll this week was $31,859. Purchase orders, we have purchase order 4474 from RMDL, from Roger Hicks for ditching Pleasant Hill Road for paving, not to exceed $2,000. Purchase order 4475 from RMDL is for Rob Hansen for a sinkhole at the end of Dennett Road, not to exceed $1,000. Purchase order 4476 is from RMDL from Rob Hansen for drainage around a catch basin at Forest Lane, not to exceed $1,200. Purchase order 4477 is for Eastern Salt for 1,100 tons of salt roadways at $75.30 a ton, not to exceed $83,000. I don't know what that word is, but at Cogsby?
It looks like, but
Unknown word. And then finally, purchase order 4479 from Banna Corp. To run cable for phone and network lines and electrical for AC unit data and phone, not to exceed $2,764.69. And that's all the purchase orders. Correspondence. We are currently seeking an animal control officer for our town. If you love animals and like helping them, this is a job for you. The position's job description information on how to apply is available on our webpage under announcements or by calling Bennett Flinner at 207-298-9708 or email your resume to adminsecretary@hollismaine.org. We hope to see you at the Hollis Community Celebration on Saturday, September 21st from 4 p.m. until sundown. We will be holding raffles and silent auctions to benefit our Community Day Fund. The Hollis Lions Club will be selling refreshments, and Parks and Rec will host some kids' games. We will end the evening with great fireworks displays. Please bring your own chairs. And so we're really excited about that. A reminder that we have vacancies on our Comprehensive Plan Committee. If you are interested, please call Bennett Flinner for an application at 207-298-9708. The USDA is accepting applications for loans and grants to expand access to new and better markets for rural small business owners and entrepreneurs, making approximately $22 million available in funding through the Rural Micro-Entrepreneur Assistance Program. Interested applicants are encouraged to contact Brian Wilson, Program Director, at 207-990-9125 or brian.wilson@usda.gov. Eligible applicants include nonprofits, federally recognized tribes, institutes of higher education and businesses in eligible areas with 10 or fewer full-time employees. Other business. I just wanted to remind you that we do have new assessors, as John O'Donnell and Associates, and they've been working very hard at not only doing the assessing for this year, but correcting some issues with last year. And they were hoping to get the commitment by September 15th, or at the latest October 1st. So we're hoping that that's the dates that they do the commitment. But they've been working very hard with correcting some issues from last year. So, upcoming town committee and board meetings. Select board to meet with R.H.R. Smith auditors on September 10th at 10 a.m. The planning board meeting on September 11th, 2024 at 7 p.m. The sports complex meeting on Thursday, September 12th at 7 p.m. Another select board meeting on Wednesday, September 18th at 7 p.m. The Conservation Commission meeting on Thursday, September 19th at 5:30 p.m. Any public comment? Anything else, Martha, on elections?
Yes, thank you. Absentee ballot request forms are in, and you can request those. Bennett has very graciously put the website online. Because it's a state election, you can request them online, and those requests come right to my computer. You can come in and fill out the forms, or you can call and request your own ballot. For the last election, there was ongoing absentee ballot applications if you're over 65, or you what's the word I want? Not admit, but you just have to sign a form saying that you're disabled. You're just saying it. We don't have to prove it. You don't have to put what the disability is, but you can also get an ongoing absentee ballot. And what that means is for every election we have, you will automatically be mailed absentee ballots. One of the things I'm finding this election is because there is online voter registration, we've had people that we think meant to request an absentee ballot and instead registered to vote, and they're already voted. So that we've kept those aside, but they're not going to get an absentee ballot because they registered to vote instead of registered for their absentee ballot. So the two, I think you have to be careful when you're typing it in. Maybe, I don't think the information's even on the same page at the state, I think. Maybe you probably start request, and you know how sometimes it propagates it for you. So we've had 4 or 5 people that have registered to vote that are already registered to vote, and we suspect that they are absentee ballot requests, but it's not, without a phone number, there's not much we can do to call them. The beauty of the absentee ballot application is it has a place for a phone number, but voter applications don't, so voter registration applications don't. But anyway, so I'm just telling you, if you're doing it online, just be cautious of that. Certainly, if you think you've ordered a ballot and you don't receive it by the middle of October, please give us a call and say, hey, did you get my request? I mean, they come by mail, they come electronically, people phone, things. We try to be as accurate as we can, but things happen. And then I think I was listening over there. I think you mentioned the change of the voting place. We're waiting for the Secretary of State's approval on that. Not this Tuesday, but a week ago Tuesday, Roger came in the office and said, we need to change our voting place. We can't vote here. So Roger very graciously, I said, well, here's the certification, because I've done and completed all my certifications for this election, which is about 10 of them, different ones. So I went to the computer and printed him off 40, 50 pages and said, here you go. And he did it. He went and measured and found a place, and so we're just waiting to hear back on that. And the deadline to get that in was Friday, so we did well. He did very well to get that in and take pictures and all that. So we've submitted that. And the heartbreaking part of it is that we had 2 public hearings on this building. And I just have to say this, and that side of the room was filled with the contractors and designers and all that, and I know at least at one of those public hearings I said, what about voting on November 5th? We're going to need parking. And not a single one of those people said a word.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really nasty to do that at the last minute like that. I mean, they had to have known they were going to block this off.
Right.
And they didn't. And
Yeah.
I think that really put a lot of pressure on the municipal, everybody here to have to drop that quick and change. And, you know, it's too bad. I mean, I'm excited about the place. I think it's probably going to work out very well. But nothing you guys can do about it. But I just say shame on them, because they were here and they could have very well said, we're going to bark off your whole parking lot and you're going to have, you know,
Nothing.
you're going to have 6 places to park. I mean,
Right.
because I very clearly asked that.
Right.
So that's a little disheartening to get everything all in a
Right.
row. You think you're ahead of the game, and then it all falls apart in a day. I mean, I realize that happens in real life to lots of people, and have to
Yeah.
be a big girl and deal with it. And we have. I think we've risen to the occasion, and I just want to thank Roger for taking on that, because I don't know if I could have done it as quickly and efficiently as he did. And I think Chris Young, the fire chief, had something to do with that too.
Yes,
I
he
think
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
So you know, it takes a village, as they say. So that was
Because they went over to look at the fire station, and they have those new exhaust things,
for the
and found
trucks.
out they would have to have them removed for the day. And then I don't know whether Chris was talking to somebody, or somebody said, well, what about the Hollis Center Church? They're huge, and they have a huge parking, and they're handicapped accessible, and they're,
It's level. It's
You know.
It's kind of like if you could design a dream place, that would be it, I guess,
Right.
to have your election.
so thank you to Chris and
For doing that.
and Martha and everybody for doing
Let's
that.
see, and I got to make the cameraman happy tonight. Well, not the camera.
Dogs?
Yeah, you are the cameraman. Yes.
Dogs?
Dog licenses. I haven't done it for a long time. They'll be due October 15th. They're here already, but we can't sell them till October 15th. So October 15th to December 31st, come in and license your dog, please. We've had a couple people in recently that have 6-month-old pups. I give them the choice. You can license it and license it again in October, or you can come back in October. I mean, at this point, what are we looking at? 5 weeks or so. So it's their decision to do that.
Right.
So I appreciate those people coming in that are licensing their dogs and do that. So, and I missed it, Mary, when you said the tax commitment might be done.
Yeah, we were hoping, when we talked to John when he came in the other day, he was hoping that he'd be able to get it done by September 15th, but if not, by October 1st.
Okay, and then when he gets it done, and then the tax collector still has to do her stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
people at home, don't get all excited that your tax bills are going to be, you know, it's
There the next day,
takes
but
a good 3 weeks at least after that, because she does report after report after report
Yeah,
to
we
verify
know
that
that.
all those numbers are correct. And I know I say this every year, but I'll put it out there too, is that unless the law's changed, which it might have, the municipality has no requirement to mail out a tax bill.
Right.
So
Right.
when you get mad and start talking to your municipal officials, they do it as a courtesy. There's no obligation that I'm aware of, unless it's changed in the last year or so, to mail out a tax bill. You're still responsible for your taxes. So, you know, unfortunately, we have them every year, or fortunately, depending on which side of the coin you look at. So,
Yeah.
to pay for all the things we have in town. So, I think that's it.
And
I've
thank
run
you,
on
Martha,
enough.
for all the help today. And I'm sorry I was confused. I just didn't want to not mention it in case we were supposed to mention it. So,
What, the Charter Commission?
yeah. But thanks
yeah.
for all your help with the warrant,
Well,
too.
and
It was-
that's the other thing. I mean, I printed off a package for that, but I think it's 40 pages, and I haven't even began to
Yep.
read through that of
Yeah.
what and how the things have to. It said very clearly on 2 of the pages that I read that you need to refer to the statute because they have to be worded
Just so, yeah.
just so.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't jump out and do a paper on that
Yep.
in a couple hours notice. You got to read it and research it and find out what well, nobody wants to go have a vote, do all that, and then have it not be legal or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
So we want to do it the right way. So Thank you for that. Thank you, Bennett. Bennett works very hard, by the way. I don't know how we do it without her.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else from any of the public, or?
I just want to say thank you for the effort the school put into working with the drop-off and pickup. It alleviated a lot of issues here. Yeah, you're right, Martha. There's going to be a lot of inconvenience as this construction goes. It's always going to be subject to change, moving things around, because it's in its phases. So, I can say just...
It was a shocking phase to me.
Yeah.
You know, I finally parked down by the barn just so I wouldn't be in anybody's way and have to move my car 6 times or something. Because sometimes when I worked at the hospital, when there was snow, you know, they come in and have you move your car, and you move it,
yes.
and then they come back in and have you move it again. So
Yeah, and this is a very selfish thing on my part, but I don't have a big car, so I'm not going to be able to park there this winter and get on and off that lawn. I'll be there for the winter. So we need to think about that. I mean, if you've got an SUV, you probably can get in and out. Mine is this far off the ground,
I know.
it's not. I'm not going to be able to park there this winter. And there you go. That'll see me whipping down the road on that.
And they taught me the good way, because I told somebody the other day I was backing up
Oh yeah, I
right
don't
by
back up
Martha,
either.
right by Martha, and I'm like, oh please God, don't let me hit a car.
Right.
And then Tammy Thompson or somebody comes in and says, yeah, you just go through the gate that they've opened and you come across the
Right.
lawn and you park your car.
I
said,
learned that the second day too.
I
'cause
said,
I'm like, I
oh,
can't back
okay.
this up. 'Cause
But
it's
I
a
hate to back up. I'm like, I'm like getting out of the car, looking both sides, going,
Well, and
okay.
it's a little bit of an incline, so if
Yeah.
you're not just, it's
So-
like I said, if you've got a small car that's not big enough to go through snowbanks, so you're,
I was just going to start walking to work.
maybe I should do that too. My husband's saying yes.
So I don't know what we're going to do about the...
Martha, you have a little bit more. I think it's probably, I would say probably 4.5 to 5 miles to here from your house. It's only like 1.75 miles from mine, so it'd be a little more.
Because we're going to start talking about the public stand, where it's located. Is it going to
Yeah.
be Saturday, Sundays? We're going to move it?
I don't know. We'll have
That's
to decide.
another thing. That
We
you're
gotta think
talking
about
this
public sand.
construction, we had the sand here for the public, but it's down back now, and they're going to only be able to access it on.
Weekends, or we'll
Saturdays
have
and
to
Sundays.
move it.
He's waiting. One more thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
And that's good. I'm glad you do that.
Well-
So we're not sure where
Where you're
how
gonna
we're
put
going to
the
work
public
with
sand,
this
yeah.
with sand. So
Yeah.
if it's to get it out there, say think ahead Saturdays and Sundays, or are we going to stockpile something down in the beginning?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're talking about as we go now.
can answer that question.
Thinking what this can do, this construction. It's
So
going
my-
to cause some chaos, but we always arise to the occasion, though. So
We do. We do.
Just
pull,
if we can get the porta potty moved.
we do pull it off.
yeah,
Yes,
I'm
and I've had a lot of people that have called with great questions about elections, because there's a lot of information and misinformation out there. And I had a woman call to get an absentee ballot, and I really appreciated her questions, and I was able to explain that, in Maine we have absentee voting, and there's, we have a camera on that
Yep.
drop box. Oh, we got to get that set up, and it's bolted, and we empty it just about every day. And for this election, we'll have to pay 2 people to come in on Saturday or Sunday, because you need 2 people to do it. And she was really fascinated by that it took 2 people, so that one person isn't doing themselves and just stuffing the ballots away. Maine has been asked to speak. The Secretary of State and Julie Flynn, the Deputy Secretary of State, my understanding is they've been asked to speak at national conventions on election security, because Maine has a good system, and we seem to be far ahead compared to some places.
Yeah.
So when you hear something on the news, call and ask. We can answer that question and tell you how Maine handles it. Just because they're talking about it in another state doesn't mean that's the way it's done here in Maine. And they've really done, I think they've done a great job on trying to educate us, and we try to educate our election clerks to have safe and secure elections. And my one more thing was going to be about Parks and Rec. I know you recognized Chip earlier, and I appreciate all that Parks and Rec does. They do a very good program. And I don't, maybe if this was mentioned now, please forgive me, but they are looking for sponsors for their walkers, for their kids.
Thank you.
And how that works is they have, let's say they have 60 children. I don't know how many children they have in parks in the aftercare program, but the child gets off the bus here and they have a snack, they have a little downtime, and then they walk. And for each mile that they walk, the person that sponsors them buys a canned food or a packaged food for the food pantry. So the kids are getting out walking, exercising, getting fresh air, benefiting the food pantry. I know they really appreciate that at Hollis Center, helping a lot of families. Plus, it's kind of cute when the kids come over because they need to know how to count and how many miles they've walked. I need 11 cans, and it's hard to carry 11 cans of string beans back here. But it is a wonderful program. I don't know who thought of it, but kudos to them. Yep. And so I know they put an email out that they're looking for sponsors for kids, and you can contact the rec office and they'll tell you how to do that. And I mean, you don't have to come in every week. You just have to periodically, I think, come in and bring your food items. For town hall, they come over just about every week, and they know where our stashes are. So if we aren't there, you know where the corn is. Help yourself. Take the cans you need, and so it's a nice, beneficial community project, I think.
And then they have a celebration at the end of the year, and they announce how many miles they walked and where they would have gotten to in the United States with the miles that they walked. So it really is great.
Yeah, they got invited to the legislature one year. Dawn, were you up there when they did that? I was. Yeah, because my nephew Brandon was in. My cousin. Yeah, Brandon was doing it then, and he still remembers that, going to the legislature, and they got recognized in the House and the Senate for their number of miles that they walked, and he still remembers that. He's out of college, and he still remembers that was a big deal. They all went up and see that. It was very nice of you to do that for them, Dawn. Very, very nice. So. It's your job. So, yes,
thank you.
It is our job.
Thanks for mentioning that, though.
Yeah.
Because they've gone up, I think, from having 50-some kids to having 60-some. So they've gone up quite a bit for their aftercare program.
Wow. Yeah.
So.
Excellent.
The noise some afternoons is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So anything else? Are we ready finally for number 10?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.